I will say the scariest thing, I'll leave with this. The scariest thing is when you leave the hospital with your baby and they're like, yo, there's this thing called SIDS, your baby might die. But we don't know what causes it and we don't know why it happens and it's super random. And we're like, okay, great. But there's tons of things to prevent. There's tons of things
all
to
the fear.
I'm glad you ended with that.
Yeah, like
not to take it to a dark place, but
And
they're like, but Billy, am I wrong? They make you leave the hospital. They're like, oh, by the way, there's this thing out there, right? We don't know what it is. We don't know why it happens. There's really like nothing that indicates like there's not like a blood test that can indicate for us. Your baby could stop breathing in the middle at 3 o'clock in the morning when you're in the middle of your dream. Good luck, and they make you leave the hospital.
For me, the craziest thing was like, and I don't know how it used to be, right? But like we had our daughter, like when everything was locked down, you couldn't even really have like anyone come visit you in the hospital or whatever, right? So like, I never did like any parenting classes. We never did like any breathing classes, anything like that. Like we were like just showing up like it was a pop quiz, like for the birth, right? Like the you know, my wife's doctor would like tell her things, but like I couldn't even go into the ultrasound. So like I never met the doctor until the day of my daughter's birth.
I still can't go to the ultrasounds.
Really?
Yeah, they don't let her, especially because like Danya has to be on Medicaid.
Mm-hmm.
So like they're super like strict about it.
I think some of that depends on where you go, like in like the doctor's own like practice or preferences, right? But like still, yeah, like it sucked not being able to go to any of that stuff. But like, yeah, we went in like with nothing, right? Like no actual knowledge. And then we were there one night and then they're like, okay, like you're covered, you're good for 2 nights, or if you want, we can send you home like today. And I'm like, no, I think we're going to do the 2 nights because I don't know what the hell I'm doing and I don't know how to take care of this child. And like the fact that
They're
even
like pushing you out of the hospital.
yeah, and it's like the fact that even tomorrow you're just like, you know what? You can go figure it out.
you guys
like,
are good.
Like,
Yeah, you got it.
they're not even a book or anything. Like not even like a pamphlet. It's just like, you guys, you're good. When you clean the baby's diaper, try to go from top to bottom so that you don't get any of the poop in the privates. And then outside of that,
Adelante.
like you can figure it out.
Oh, that's another one, Billy.
And it's
They're
like, what? No, wait, what? Like, let's stay an extra day because, like, when the baby starts crying at a day old, I don't know what the hell is going on. This is my first rodeo. Like, and they come in and like, oh, this is called a swaddle. This is what you do, whatever, right? It's like, oh, wow, that's super simple. And then they're gone and it's like 3:30 in the morning. And it's like, I got this. I'm going to do exactly what they showed me. And it's like, oh, my God, like, I tied a knot around the kid somehow. Like, how do I get them out of this thing now?
Yeah, it's definitely scary having kids. The other thing, going back to the SIDS and the whole baby dying in the middle of the night thing,
Oh, good.
is
Yeah,
they say not to
going
put
back.
not to put a lot of blankets or any blankets and pillows in the crib. That way they don't like suffocate because they can't really move because they're babies.
Louis, you're like a kid or 2 away from being Philip Rivers, so I trust you on all this.
Papito, trust me that I'm currently operating as if I was Philip Rivers.
Oh, you're working on another one? This one's not even out yet.
No, we're just talking about it.
Oh my
Hey,
God!
you done with that
No,
sound
you're
yet,
not.
Louis?
No.
Louis, you done with that sound?
Yeah, it's going now. That's for local. You're looking for local, the Big Suey one or the local
Local.
hour one?
Local.
Both of them, right?
No, just local.
Just local.
Oh, my bad. Okay, yeah, I got you.
As I was doing that, my wife sent me a picture of like a time hop of a year ago today, holding the baby by the cheek like this and trying to burp her because that's how they showed us to do it. Like you have to lean the baby, put the chin like in your hand, lean them forward, and then it's like you have to hit the baby hard enough to get a burp out and in the right direction, but like obviously not hard enough to kill the baby. And like
Perfect. Yeah.
you need the
Love
perfect
those two
balance
ends
of how to
spectrum.
hit them. Yeah.
You somehow like know what to do when the baby's in front of you for some odd reason.
One of the two in the couples that was the burper though, Billy. Were you the burper? Like, were you the better burper? One is always better at like getting the baby to burp. I was the burper in
Listen,
my relationship.
I don't want to brag, but
Yeah.
I was a pretty good burper.
Right. Mommy would be trying for like 10 minutes. It's like, come here, give her to daddy.
You know what the trick is, right? Like there's like like you can't hit them too high in the back.
Right. Well, I
You
think
gotta
every
hit 'em
kid's
nice.
different. My daughter, like, if you like would stand her up almost and like bounce her a little bit, like
Do it, Billy. Do it. That's
standing.
exactly what it is, Billy.
I had to do an upward
upward.
thing. Hit the gas up and out.
Yeah.
Up and out.
Lower
Yeah.
to mid back.
Yeah. Yeah, and also for the first once we got home for like the first month and a half, I was like the best at getting her to go to sleep. And like
Oh,
my
I'm the
wife
best at
was
that still.
Not great at not she did not
yeah.
like that. Like she'd be there and like struggling for like, like the first month, and like she's like stressed out and she's like totally like has no energy. She's with the baby all the time, breastfeeding, doing all this stuff. So she's there and the baby's like crying and she's rocking and singing and doing all these things. And the baby won't, like, she just wouldn't fall asleep. And I'd go in there and I would just like do a couple things and the baby would be out, boom, like within
What
like
are-
10 minutes.
What are those couple things?
You want to know what song? This isn't. It doesn't matter. You want to know what song? And Lewis and Tony will definitely know this song. I would just hum one part of a song, an Enrique Iglesias and Gente de Zona song over and over again. I would just hum one
Hum it.
part.
Please hum it
of
for
the song.
everybody.
I would just go like this. I'd go, oh, 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 and I would do it like slower sometimes, and then as she was falling asleep I'd go slower and I'd go lower, so I'd start like oh, oh, and then by the end it was like oh, oh, oh. And if you hear the song has nothing to do with putting kids to sleep or anything. It's like
Oh,
a freaking
no.
party song.
It has to
And
do
was
with
just like,
making kids that don't belong to them.
oh my God.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah. This guy
But now I'm
gets it.
terrible at getting her to go to sleep. Now she wants nothing to do with going to sleep with me. I got all.
Yeah, Sierra's at that sleep regression.
I
so,
can't
like, we
get
put
her to
down.
go to sleep. My wife
No,
will put her
she
to
goes
sleep
crazy.
in 7 minutes. My wife will get her to sleep. Me, it's like 3 hours. She's like
She goes
climbing all
crazy.
over me. Like
Sometimes I'm so much better at my wife at putting her to sleep, but sometimes I'll stay up there longer so my wife doesn't think I'm so good at it, so she doesn't want me to do it more.
wow.
That's very kind of you. That's like a
Well, no, it's
No.
actually really dick of me.
Yeah, it is.
Because my wife, like, she's such a struggle for my wife sometimes that, like, I'm the only, like, my wife, it takes, like, over an hour. She's 4 right now. Like, she does not want to go to sleep. And I have a routine where I go up there. I don't go in the bed with her. Like, we
Oh, so
talk
you're
for a minute.
saying-
What?
You're saying that you're not doing it because I thought for a second you were staying up there to not make her feel bad for how long it takes.
Oh,
But
no,
what
no.
you're saying is
I
that
want
you
my
stay
wife
up
to
there
think-
so that sometimes she does it too.
I want my wife to think it takes me longer so that she's not like, oh, you should always do it. It only
do you
takes
play?
you this amount of time. I'll, like,
I was approaching it from the other
get a
side.
little work
Yeah.
done on my phone.
Yeah, I need the points with my wife, so like I need to make sure that I'm useful with the
I
baby.
do it more than her, but I still like sometimes I don't want her to get to a point where it's like you always do that because you're so good at it.
I originally thought the way Jeremy thought, but then quickly realized, no, this is not a
I
selfless
thought
thing.
this was the most selfless
No.
thing
No,
you could
but-
possibly do.
But also, and I don't know if Chris has done this too, sometimes you go to put them to sleep and like they're asleep, right? And you're like, you know what? Daddy could use 20 minutes of shut eye here too. You know what I mean?
Dude,
Like,
you know how many times I've fallen asleep in
Hang
my
out.
daughter's bed and I wake up at like 1 a.m. Like I was putting her to sleep and like because like my
and you
daughter's
wake up,
just-
you're like, oh, it was a struggle today. Oh,
I have to like we're doing a thing where like sometimes we like lay with her to like get her to go to sleep.
yeah.
Daddy falls asleep all of a sudden.
Dad, that's why I tried to yes, I try not to, but there are times when
No, at this age, like with Leona being 3-4 years old, like I just like, hey, duérmate, time to sleep, and then I turn off the light and close the door, and she just kind of like does her thing.
dude, that's honestly like that's good. Like that's
Here's the thing,
I
like
wish
in
I
the
was there.
beginning, it
Close the
sucked
door.
because like they cry, like they used to cry in the beginning, and then Dania would be like, babe, it's been 10 minutes, she hasn't stopped crying. I was like, mommy, trust me, she's gonna fall asleep because those tears are exhausting.
No, you're actually right. Like I'm not disagreeing. That's a good strategy.
I love
Like
that.
you-
Lou.
it is.
I love
That
that.
actually is how you get kids. Like that's the better way to
Tony,
do it.
do I or do I not have the most well-behaved kids?
Yeah, he's got really well.
Just saying, it works.
Lewis installed like soundproofing in all the walls. And he just closes and locks the door, and you're like, figure it out.
Honestly,
And
with
they
I
figured
yeah,
it
love you.
out.
Good night.
They figured it out.
That's how you're supposed to do it.
No,
It's
I'm not
self-soothing.
judging him. I'm
Self-soothing.
wishing I did that. Like it's the way.
Dog,
It's,
I'm telling you, like there's no way. It's just like what age do you let them sleep in their own room, right? Like
Yeah.
when do you move the crib out of your room? And
Yeah.
Like for me, it was like 4 months, 5 months, like
6 months.
you
6
guys.
months and she's out.
See you,
Get
Gary.
outta
And
here.
by 2 years old, she better be giving me a resume
But-
or some work applications. I need her active.
But you never meet somebody that's 35 years old and you're like, oh man, their parents must have slept in their bed till they were 6. Like you just.
yes, you do.
Wow.
Obviously,
Hold on a
maybe-
second.
No,
Hold
you
on
maybe
a
meet
second.
you might meet like a 7-year-old and you're like that kid was spoiled, but you never meet like a 40-year-old and you're like that kid was
Chris.
not potty trained quick.
Hold on. I love this game. I feel like we haven't done enough sports. Who in sports slept with their parents until they were 3 years old?
Good shout.
Yeah.
Johnny Manziel.
Wow.
What about Kevin Durant? Very sensitive
No.
on like very quick to go at the trolls.
The real
Is-
MVP.
No,
Yeah.
because he cried when he called his mom an MVP.
I'm
That's
just
why,
saying,
Chris.
like I'm trying to look who would be this.
Too
Like,
soon.
what personality types are we looking
Russell
for? That's my point.
Westbrook.
Entitled is what
Entitled.
it is. Entitled. Johnny Manziel is actually. I don't know if we can do better than Johnny Manziel.
But do
That's
you
like
think
the
Johnny,
perfect answer.
Well, do you think Johnny Manziel? God, how do we do this with?
He probably had a nanny putting him to bed.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to figure
Had a
out.
nanny.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Okay, so that like slept with
Tim
like
Tebow.
a parental
person?
figure.
Zach
yeah.
Wilson.
Are you doing that just on looks?
Yes.
Because you know nothing about Zach Wilson. I don't think anybody does.
Jeremy said
Not
looks
even
like-
Zach Wilson.
What do we think of Tebow?
Boyfriend.
Tebow. No, Tebow.
Well, I mean, I'm just doing like, like if we're doing entitled, and also now we're all of a sudden doing rich. If we're doing Johnny Manziel, I feel like Zach Wilson looks wealthy.
he does.
He has the hair
He
of
looks-
a wealthy man.
He has. You know what he looks like? Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson looks like the bad guy in a high school movie, right? Like he's
Yeah.
the captain of the football team. He drives a convertible, and like shaves, even though everyone is supposed to be like 15 or 16 years
Pushes
old.
you into the locker as he walks by.
Yeah, and then and dates the girl that's going to be the love interest of the geek who's like the protagonist.
So he's
of
the
story.
good-looking
No.
one and the bully.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
he's no,
And
he's
the
not.
bully?
He's not a bully for me.
Zach
He's-
Wilson?
He is
Zach
like
Wilson's
he
good.
is like the Zac Efron in High School Musical, where he is both
Never seen it.
the best-looking person there, but also the galvanizing figure.
The best among us.
Right,
No.
exactly. He's
No,
the
no, no,
best
no.
among us, both in looks and
No,
in
I'll
personality.
tell you how I know he's not that, because on draft day was the draft day was the Heisman Trophy thing.
Draft day.
When everyone was like throwing up like signs and stuff, and
He's just standing
he
there?
gulped because he's never been in that situation before. If he were the galvanizing Zac Efron type character, he would be like, "Yeah, guys, come on." He'd be like Chris Cody. He'd be very like, "I'm gonna hype
He
up
also
these
would've thrown up
guys
the set.
that don't need to be hyped up because I'm just a hype guy." No, he gulped and he looked at me like, "I better step up because I've never been in this kind of situation before." He's like, I don't know. I'm trying to think. What's the guy's name? Mick from Teen Wolf. Remember him, the bad guy, right? Mick was like good looking, but also looks way older than everybody else, and like bullying the hell out of people. But then when he sees the werewolf for the first time, he's like, "Whoa," he kind of shits his pants a bit.
Bryson DeChambeau spent too long sleeping with his mom.
No, man, that dude, Bryson DeChambeau, like his parents like threw him as a baby into a swimming pool, like learn how to swim. Like that's what he looks like.
Can we get over casting in high school movies like pretty people, or like pretty people that we then make look homely as being like
Wear glasses.
the good people? You know what I mean? Or like this is the person that brings us together. Like, let's just call it what it is, and this is gonna come off as bad, but like the attractive kids are really the shittiest ones in high school. You know what I mean? Like, they're the ones that treat everybody like, there's hardly ever like, wow, I'm the most attractive person, but also I'm gonna go and treat everyone great. That's not the way that this works in reality.
But Billy, that's how the movies are. The bullies and the villains in, think about Mean Girls, right? Like Rachel McAdams, like very beautiful, but also like really bitchy. And then at the same time, can we not say that? I just got to look. No, that's out. Okay, all right. So at the same time, there's also this false veneer of like altruism, like so you don't care about saving the whales then? Like they're that's who they are, and I think it's pretty accurate.
But then there's like, but then they make like Lindsay Lohan, like, oh, you know what? Like, she's so average.
but
Hard on her time, hard on her luck.
No,
Yeah.
Lindsay Lohan was like she grew up overseas, so she wasn't right. That was the premise, right?
Yes, it was. Yeah, she
so
grew
it
up
wasn't
in
that
South
she
Africa or something.
It wasn't that she wasn't pretty. It's just that she's not cool, right? No, what you're thinking about is the she's all that phenomenon, where it's like, put her hair up in a bun and make her wear glasses. Like, ew, she's gross. You can never make her cool. Takes off her glasses, drops the hair, comes down the stairs in a dress. Like, wear your overalls. You're gorgeous. That's what you're talking about. Yes, that's kind of horseshit.
You know which movie was funny that kind of like made fun of this was 21 Jump Street.
Oh yeah,
where like it was Dave Franco, right?
Yep.
Where like he was like the cool kids and Channing Tatum's like coming back to be like, this is how you're cool in like 1980 or whatever, and then he's like, the nerds are the cool ones now. I don't understand.
Because he pushes the shit out of this kid and calls him gay, and everyone's like, oh, that's homophobic, and he's like, no, I don't. He starts trying to explain himself. And in the process of him explaining, because like I didn't know he was gay. Oh, like he didn't look gay to me. Oh, so now gay has a look at like, and they just kept like piling on him because he's so clearly from a different generation. I love that movie.
The one strap is like, who
The one
does one strap anymore? Loser.
Everyone's two strapping it. Jonah Hill shows up with the two straps. Like, what are you doing, man? You gonna look like a nerd? And he goes, go one strap.
So, Billy, you're saying that all high school good-looking people have to be villains in the movies?
Well, no, in real life, like just attractive-looking
That's
people
not
are all
true.
horrible.
No, in real life,
Tony.
That's not true.
Oh, yeah, I think
I know a lot of people that are good looking that are nice.
Tony Topper.
Yeah.
It's just an unfair. It's an unfair characteristic that Billy's given to people that are good looking. They're all mean. That's not true.
Yeah.
I don't like Tony's so confident that he's like putting himself. He's like,
Tony's like, I'm very good looking. I'm so nice to everybody.
Speak on behalf of good looking people, please?
I didn't say a word about myself. I
you
said
were
I know
basically-
people that are good looking that are nice.
this is how I know Tony's full of it. Because he delivered that entire speech, not to the Zoom, but to the camera. He stared.
I don't have a Zoom in front of me. The only thing I can look is looking up at the screen.
Gazed into the camera longingly, and he said, "Guys, not all
life is tough for attractive people."
Hashtag not all good-looking people. It's like the episode of Family Guy where Peter gets the plastic surgery, and he says, "Well, we call you normies." I've already said too much.
Do you ever feel bad for the children of people who have had plastic surgery, like cosmetic surgery? Because you're like, oh, this person's parents are so beautiful and they came out and they're this ugly duckling. It's like, no, they look exactly like their parents before they decided to look different.
There was I'm sorry. There was a story out of China a couple of years ago of a man who divorced his wife because he didn't realize how much work she had done until she birthed the child and the child came out
that's
hideous.
horrible. That's terrible.
Dad, in high school, were you like the good-looking jerk, or were you the lovable underdog?
I would say I was the lovable underdog.
But you look like Tom Cruise.
Yeah, I thought you were Tom Cruise.
I was very small in high school. When I graduated from high school, I think I was like 130 pounds. I was never the athlete. I was the good friend, the nice guy. But
you did have
we know
in
Greg.
Little League, you had a game-winning home run though. You said you weren't the athlete. Didn't you have Cody's slam, Pace's drugs?
Yeah, that's right. I wish I could find that headline. No, I played sports like most kids that age, but I don't like to brag.
He wasn't a jock. Let's just say.
I was gonna say we know that Cody wasn't a jock because he's a sports writer.
There you go. Wow. That's exactly right.
Were you writing for the school paper when you were in high school?
I was, yeah. I got in a lot of trouble because the advisor of the school paper was really into journalism, and she let me write controversial columns, as I might if I were a professional.
Like what?
What entails like a controversial column for a high school student?
Were you like the Jason Whitlock of high school writers?
Well, the MacArthur High School Mustangs. The MacArthur High School Mustangs were always lousy. Like our football team was always like 3-8 or 2-9, just terrible. And so I would like make fun of them in columns. I would like lampoon how bad the school football team was. And there was one time when I was at a cooler in a hallway or something, and three big players from the football team cornered me against the cooler because they didn't like what I had written. I'm surprised they could read, quite frankly. But,
there it is. The
But,
pen is mightier than the sword.
That's right.
Would they get physical, or did they just kind of try to intimidate?
Yeah, it was an intimidation thing. It was a crowded hallway. I mean, they couldn't afford to do too much then.
What'd you say? How'd you get out
That
of it?
kind of thing. That kind of thing.
I don't remember exactly how I squirmed out of that one, but it was interesting when I look back on it, because in high school back then, you didn't do that. All of everything written in a high school paper was, positive and fluffy, and my advisor actually let me write what I wanted to write and be as acerbic or as wise ass as I wanted to be. And looking back, that was a little bit trend setting from what I knew.
Do you guys have kids you went to high school with that in high school they were like the popular, or like maybe not popular, but they were like a jerk and they were like so cool or something, and like now they're not doing that well, like they peaked in high school.
Oh wow!
And you're like happy about it.
I thought you were gonna
Now
say
they sell
they're
Herbalife.
nice.
Oh, come on.
I'm just saying, I'm not going to say names. There's one person I went to high school with who was like the coolest kid, and he was kind of a jerk to me at times. And now I see Facebook updates, and I'm pleased with how things are going.
Oh, no.
That's not
Okay. Don't say the name.
No, I mean he's not like he's got like a normal. But I'm just saying.
What's going on? Give me some.
He's got a shitty life.
Give me
like,
give me the
You
updates.
usurped him in the pyramid of life.
Give me the updates.
No.
What are the
This has nothing to do with me. This is just in
now
high
it's got a
school.
little
This
to do
guy.
with
Gotcha. Okay.
No,
This guy doesn't have cleaning people.
guys?
No, I think he might. He
Guys,
might.
guys,
This guy.
guys,
No. It
guys.
was more a social status. It was a social status. This guy
So he
was
was
like
divorced.
he was like the most popular kid in high school.
I don't want to guess what's happened to this guy.
I love how this is an no. Like you guys loved everybody in high school. There was
What
no-
happened?
Chris, what happened to the guy? Tell us what
Yeah.
happened. Stop guessing, everybody. Chris, what happened? Give me some Facebook updates from the guy that make you feel good.
I just see him, not. He's like not a full. Like he's not fully adult. He like just moved out of his parents' house like a little bit ago. Like there's
Bald.
just,
Yeah, more. Give me more. Give me
Yeah.
more. I want.
yeah, go ahead.
Give me
Well,
the.
I think what we're talking about is the phenomenon of the class reunion, where 10 years later you go back and the most likely to succeed, the handsome high school star quarterback, ain't that anymore. And 10 years later, everything has changed.
Anybody?
The
You
whole
guys ever
dynamic
seen
has
Just
changed.
Friends? You guys ever seen Just Friends? And what's his name? Ryan Reynolds shows up late. He was fat in high school. He shows up like 20 years later, and he's like the skinny guy from LA. And the guy who was like the jock main guy in high school is still at the local bar with the
jacket
Letterman
on.
jacket
Yeah.
on. Like, hey, you're back. And he's just like, yeah.
But Ryan Reynolds is like now quick-witted, and he's like says all the things
I'm
he
just
couldn't say
saying.
when he
Totally
was.
different person. Yeah.
Maybe I'm an asshole. I had that in my life. Like,
see,
I don't.
Here's
I don't know
my
why
thing.
I'm like it's just a normal thought to have resentments.
Chris,
sometimes.
this is what I wanted from you. I wanted, like, you started down that path and then you kind of went away. I want you to.
I don't want to. I'm not going to give. I don't want to like out.
I don't
the
want.
per-
The,
I don't
don't
wanna,
out him, but just give me the dark side.
Torch him.
Hypothetical situations.
Give
Like
It's really no.
He's
it's
gained a
really
lot of weight, huh?
just,
Guys,
it's
guys,
really
yeah,
just life
guys.
is like he's just living a normal. He's not like miserable. He's not.
No,
Like I think he's got a
Chris.
kid. I think he's
Chris.
got a fiance. Like I don't know him that well anymore. But I'm
and
just
you're
saying,
like, I got married first.
Chris.
I'm just saying.
Chris,
it's just a
you
different
obviously
vibe.
had some Facebook updates that popped in your mind when you started telling this story. Things that made you.
I don't
want
to get in specific. I don't want to start
Chris,
making
we're
some
not-
jobs
it's not a-
seem
not
like less.
jobs.
I'm not going to give specifics
Really being
on
Darth
what.
Amin here.
Yes, I want you.
I'm not gonna.
Chris.
I don't want to like be the guy that's like saying if you do this for a living, I
Let
think
go
I
of-
have something over you. I'm just saying there's just something about
you
this
have
guy.
something over this person.
He lived his life like
wrath.
he was the coolest and he was gonna have it all.
It makes
And
you
just-
powerful, Chris. They don't want you to be powerful. They tell you to hold it in. And,
Yes.
don't listen to them, man. Just your emotion gives you strength.
Yeah.
Yes.
Use it. Strike him down,
I
and
don't
you
know
will become
what you guys
greater.
want from me. You want me to say his name?
No,
Like,
How
I
many
don't
people?
care.
How many people are there? Is it just this
it's just one. Yeah, it's one guy.
Really?
Chris,
Name him.
Chris,
Name that person.
We don't want the name.
Dad, you know who it is.
But here's the
Oh,
thing.
naming it.
Greg,
Give me
start
the
naming.
initials.
Oh,
Start
my
naming
God.
names, Greg. Yeah.
No,
Give
but
me the initials.
Greg,
but-
start recalling
guys-
people whose names you've announced over PA at baseball games.
but guys, the
Yeah.
names are irrelevant.
Ding 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 ding
Ooh,
ding.
If
whoa,
it's-
he was on Chris's baseball team. Okay, that has now
Oh,
narrowed
wow.
it down to about 20.
Oh wow! Okay,
But
I
if they
could
say-
start
if they say-
naming names right now, but I won't.
If
go.
they say Troy Jenkins, like who cares? We don't know these people.
Well, Troy Jenkins knows. Yeah, Troy Jenkins may be listening.
No,
and then
I'm
Troy
not.
Jenkins
That's what
will
I'm
feel
saying.
bad.
Why are we hung up on the name when only 2 people in this Zoom and the guy listening to it somewhere in Broward County who's going to get it? What I want to know are the details.
It's more, dude. It was like this guy got all the girls.
Yeah. No,
and
not
he's-
now. Not then. I want now
No,
the
but
details.
now he's just a guy.
Now he just has one wife, and he's
Just
like,
his-
what a
like,
loser.
I guarantee you, this person looks at their
Boring.
life and he's like, man, if I could just go back to high school. Whereas I don't want to go back to high school. I'm good.
People want to go back to high school?
I think
I
there
think
are
there are people that do. There are people that peaked in. Of course, there are.
But do people want to go back to high school? Juju, okay, so I'll ask you, Juju, do you want to go back to high school because it was such a good time, or do you want to go back to high school because you would do things differently?
I want to go back and do things 1,000% differently.
But that's
different.
different.
That's
than
different. We're
being,
not talking
like,
about
that's
that.
different than being.
That's a different movie.
Like
Yeah.
living in high school, you were the coolest in school. You were like at your coolest. You were
Recapturing
everything
a
was-
time when you were at
Yeah.
your peak.
And then after that, everything like you didn't go to. I don't know. Like it
That
just,
is also me though. I am the guy you're talking about. I
That, dude,
peaked in high
Juju,
school.
you're
Hold
doing
on.
like.
Hold
look
on.
at you,
Juju,
man.
you
You're
were
all right.
driving up in the convertible with the Letterman jacket on.
You're
and
doing the
Exactly.
swag dance with the Dikembe Mutombo like
Yeah.
2 days ago. What are we talking about here?
That's
I
the
was supposed to be LeBron James. He's living my life right now.
low point of Juju's life.
But,
Doing
you
the
know.
swag surfing with Dikembe Mutombo. I was
Who
like,
doesn't love
what
a swag surf?
What has my life become? Oh man. No.
But yeah, I don't. Maybe I'm a jerk. I do have, and you know, like I said, ever since that first segment,
I've mostly had the opposite, which is people who
Were jerks?
were not that they were jerks, but like were like popular, attractive, whatever.
Now they're
They've
realtors.
gone on to successful careers in life. It's like, wow, things just kept going well for you, huh?
oh no,
Fair
there's
play.
a few of those. I
Fair
got a
play.
few of those.
I want to
I got a
ask.
few of those,
Let
too.
me ask Greg a question because I get the feeling that most of you guys are at least tangentially keeping up with people you went to high school with. Maybe not actively
Nope.
talking to. but
You see faces of people that you went to high school
I
with on
don't-
Instagram stories all the time.
Yeah, I don't. Not on social media. Not in real life. I don't know a single person I went to high school with now. I
Wow.
don't know what they're doing. I have no idea. They could,
Really?
They could be running for Congress. I don't know.
Why?
So I want to ask Greg, as the oldest among us in this collection, do you keep up in any way with someone that you went to high school with?
No, I don't. And it sort of saddens me to say that. The oldest friend I had, and he passed away about 5 years ago, I knew from junior college, from like when I was 18
What
or
about
19.
Gary the Bag Rosenfeld we had on the Greg Cody show?
Oh, the
Didn't you-
bag, yeah.
You know what? Gary the Bag, tangentially, I grew up with him. We were next door neighbors growing up. Tangentially, I do still keep up with him through social media, and we did have him on the Greg Cody Show podcast at one point. Thank you for that plug, Christopher. You put it in
That's
fairly
a plug.
seamlessly.
If people don't want to listen now after hearing that Gary the Bag was on, I don't know when they will.
But I mean, like the times are different now, right? Like, not to say like old timer, like that's not how things work anymore. But like you're probably like 5 years just outside of the window where it's like you're in high school, you already make an Instagram or a Facebook or whatever, right? So like people who are recently graduated as of like let's say the last 15 years or so, right? Like they already had that, like you'd have to go out of your way to unfollow these people
Right.
to not know what's going on with their lives at this point, right?
No, that's
because
true.
when you're in high school, you are already all on these platforms and you just never get rid of these people. So you may not be talking to them, but you pretty much know everyone's life that you knew back then. Or let me rephrase that. You know the version of everyone's life that they want to present on social media of everyone that you knew at that time.
That's a good point.
That's why like reunions now are pretty useless. Like you go to a 10-year reunion and you're like, oh, I saw that you had 3 kids. So like you don't even have a story
Right.
to tell people. Everyone
can't-
just knows everyone's life.
You can't even do the time-honored tradition of a movie like Just Friends, where you show up like, oh, me, my life is awesome now, right? Look, I drive this car, I do this for a living. You can't do that because they already know, because chances are you've already thrown it on social media. That's an interesting point, Billy. Maybe I am just old, and so now I'm the last generation that gets to experience a high school reunion and feel good about it.
You know what? You anyone out there who has a reunion coming up, if you want to
Invite me.
do this thing, right? This is what you do. get off social media for like 2 years, or just like go like silent, like go like radio silent on
Zero
social
Dark
media.
30.
Or just
For,
block
like-
everyone you went to high school with.
Well, then
That's a bit
then
much.
You
That's a
have,
bit
like,
much.
You show up and then it's like, why'd you block me? And it's like, well, because I wanted this big reveal. And then you show up and you like throw like smoke bombs.
I've gained 75 pounds.
Witty's
No,
ripped.
but like, if you want to be like Fast Chris, right, and like get ready for like the big moment and the big reveal, you should just totally go like radio silent on social, so no one knows what's going on. They're like, oh, I heard that Chris Cody's going to be at a reunion. He hasn't posted anything since 2017. Like, what do you think's going on with him? And then you come and you're like chiseled, or you hire someone that looks just like you. Well, you're a bad example because you're kind of like somewhat a public figure, so people know what you're doing.
Wow.
But if you're not, you hire someone that looks just like you to come in and tell this great story about how great things are for you.
All right.
That's a lot of effort, what you just described. Hiring a lookalike.
Well, this is a world where you're just looking for the applause of people who were mean to you back in the day.
But Billy, you're right about the high school reunion dying because of social media. And the thing now is that they combine like 3 classes. Like it'll be the 1981, 82, and 83 class. I have zero interest in. I hate reunions to begin with, but I have zero interest in sharing a reunion with people I don't even know.
Greg, how many reunions of this sort have you been to? Because I've been to none. Like the 20
Same.
class of
2010 doesn't exist.
Class of 2010 was canceled because of COVID.
Yeah.
I also deleted my Facebook page, so there's that. So I've never experienced this. It actually sounds kind of fun to me. Is it fun?
Yeah. It wasn't.
Well, Dad, you're socially awkward. So like, right?
Yeah, no, but let him answer the question.
No, but he hates those things. I'm just saying, like, he doesn't like those type of things.
Well, I went to one high school reunion of mine because my wife goaded me into doing it. It was one of the most uncomfortable things in the world. And I've been to like 2 of her class reunions because she's more social than me. She's one of these people who actually looks forward to a class reunion. And I'm the wallflower hiding behind the potted plant, drinking voluminously. So, no.
Beautiful word. Just a beautiful word there.
Voluminously.
Thank you. Thanks, Roy.
Wait, so Whitty, you don't remain in contact or follow the lives of people that you went to high school with?
I do, but I would presume that the area where that's organized is probably Facebook. There are a lot of people that are on Facebook, and I just I completely deleted mine, so it's just gone.
Mine was organized on Facebook whenever my 10-year was in 15, and it didn't happen. There was like a boat that was going to be on a yacht. I paid for it, and then it like not enough people paid for it, so like we got our money back.
So let me ask you guys a question, because you guys all work for the #1 sports podcast in all the world, right? Do you have people that were in your lives when you were in high school or early on in life that you haven't talked to in a while, who have now resurfaced and reemerged? Like, hey, how's it going? Saw you guys left ESPN. That's cool. Like, you have anybody try to catch up with you, basically?
Nah. I have an example of that with a kid, and I'll even name him because I'm friends with him now. Will Block is like a kid
that Will.
He went to high school.
Oh, Will.
When I went to high school, he was like the #1 baseball prospect in the county. Like he was.
Never heard of him.
I'm telling you, he was a guy that he was a stud.
Where'd he go?
Nova. And
he wasn't that good.
Yeah, it wasn't that good.
He should have been a basketball player.
You guys
named Will
literally
Block.
don't know what you're talking about. Nova High School in Broward won like
I'm with you,
state
Chris. I'm with you,
championships,
Chris.
Oh, we thought that you were saying that he went to
Southeastern.
Yeah, I thought you were saying he went to Nova Southeastern University.
no,
Like,
Nova
no, he
High
wasn't very
School,
good.
Nova High
I'm talking about high school. It's literally one of the best high school programs in the
it's
country.
Well, where did he go to
University, right?
college? Is what Tony
He went
wants
to
know.
FAU, I believe, which at the
Oh,
time had a good baseball
All right,
program,
right,
actually.
Low D1.
See, Jeremy knows. Nobody knows here except for
It
Jeremy.
was like Will Block was a big fish in a
All
tiny
right,
pond.
guys. The point was he
goodness
was like
me.
I didn't
There's a
know him
point.
in high school. It was like, whoa, that's Will Block. Like I was like afraid to talk to Will Block, and now I saw him at the Honda Classic a few years ago. Big fan of Chris Cody. Will Block was, and I was like, oh, look at this. Look where my life is.
I'm looking up Will Block on Instagram right now.
That's
And now I'm like regretting naming.
coincidentally, that's what Billy suggested you do before you go to high school reunion.
Block him?
Yeah, he will block.
That deserves a laugh.
You did it, Dan.
Well, it's funny on the show What We Do in the Shadows. There's a character called Guillermo, and they call him Gizmo as his.
We should just call Billy Gizmo.
Yeah,
Gizmo Gill.
Gizermo.
Say too much.
If everybody started calling Billy Gizmo while Dan, Stu, and Mike were gone.
Oh my god.
Yeah, everyone just come back and I'm just Gizmo now.
It's like, yeah, I was talking to Giz the other day, and
what do you think? Because I'm not gonna follow Gizmo because I don't want them to know that we were talking about Gizmo. But I see that Gizmo has 82 followers and 19 posts, and the last post was in October of 2015. So Gizmo hopefully is still with us, but may not be.
You know what that's called? That's called I created an Instagram account for my dog. Is this cute? And then like 3 weeks into like
this is boring.
No,
then I got bored with it.
You know what I think it is, Amin? I think it was like, oh my God, I have an idea. Gizmo should have an Instagram, and then Gizmo's going to get 30,000 followers because Gizmo's so cute, and then we're going to get rich off Gizmo. And then you're like 19 posts and 6 months in, you're like, what am I doing with my life? Like, why am I documenting a dog's life for 82 followers, all of which I know?
Here's the part that I don't like, that really irritates me. I don't care if you create an Instagram account for your pet, right? Because some people like to centralize all their pet photos in one place.
But don't pretend to be the pet?
Oh, the first person, like, I love my daddy. Like, oh, just get out of here with that, man. Get the hell out of here with that. Greg, don't you dare. Don't you dare create an Instagram account for your pet and then talk in the first person. Like,
my dad just got a dog, so
I know.
You know what?
That's why
I had never considered it until this conversation. And Greg Cody's dog might be,
unless
account.
You really tap in.
No, it's always like Johnny the Labradoodle at Instagram, and then like like as Amin said, you're speaking as Johnny the Labradoodle the entire time. I don't know why I couldn't come up with a better name than Johnny for a dog.
Like it's this dog has a regular person name.
Overly anthropomorphizing this dog.
Better than Greg Cody's dog.
You guys watch this show, The Old Man, on Hulu? It's a new show.
I saw the commercial for it.
Yeah, so
I'm
like
interested.
he walks in the doctor's office, and the doctor says, "Oh, what are your dog's name?" He says Frank and Diane. And he's like, "Oh, why'd you name him that?" It's like, "What's wrong with those names? Like, those are people names. Like, they can't, dogs can't have people names." And the doctor's just kind of confused. But Greg, if you're gonna do the first person thing, I will allow it. But you've got to tap into some real writer ass shit inside you. Like, it has to be like, June 28th, I awoken from a deep slumber to find my master snoring as always. I worry for his health. I try to bark to let him know, but he does not pick up on the cues. Yeah. Tired, he drags himself to that flat screen thing as he begins to yell and howl at the images on it. I wonder for his sanity sometimes. And like I want a paragraph caption like that from your dog.
The problem with my dog is that I feel like most of what they do that's fun or interesting happens when they're a puppy, and then when they grow up to become a regular adult dog, they're kind of boring. For example, Charlie, the 2-month-old, just drank a beautiful Pinot Noir right out of my wife's glass.
What?
This is not.
And the better half of that story is that my wife finished the wine.
Ew.
Continued drinking the wine
Why not?
that the dog had sipped out of.
What do you mean, why not?
Why not?
Dog's mouth is cleaner, they say, right?
Who's saying why not? Who's saying why not?
not?
Witty.
Just finish the wine.
Gross.
Witty doesn't have a dog, obviously.
No,
You guys never kiss a dog?
No.
I've kissed a dog.
Two Americas like a motherfucker right here.
Ew, no. On the mouth, no.
I mean, I'm not gonna like sit there for a long time, but I'll let the dog lick my face for a minute or
Lick
two.
your face?
It just licked its anus like 12 minutes ago, and now it's licking your mouth.
I do that.
What world are we living in?
Hey, yo.
No open mouth. I mean, let's not get gross.
So the dog wants to kiss you, and you're like, "Ew, get away from me!"
Pretty much.
Disgusting
Lick
dog.
the
The dog should always be like floor level, and I'm standing up. That's our relationship.
You don't seem to love your dog very much.
I don't have a dog.
Wow.
But if I did, I have no dog in the fight. That's pretty good.
Speaking of dogs, people who have dogs, they always assume that we like your dog. Like, stop assuming that I like your dog. I don't have a dog.
But
don't
Juju,
let your dog
no.
step on my pants. These pants cost more than your dog.
Juju,
my shoes
he's friendly.
cost more than your dog.
But Juju,
Get
he's
this
friendly.
dog off me in the elevator.
He's friendly. He doesn't mean anything. It's okay. He's friendly. I'm like, I don't give a shit if he's Mr. Personality. I don't want him to touch me.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Speaking of dogs,
yeah, dog owners don't think of that enough, but that's a very good point.
But does that apply like in the dog owner's home, or then the rules change? Like if you're entering the dog in the homeowner's domain, then maybe it's more acceptable, right? Yeah. Like in an elevator, it's kind of like, look, this is everybody's elevator. But like if you go to the dog owner's house, how do you feel?
Yeah, safe. I'm at the dog's mercy at that point.
But the dog gets a minute to smell me, wag the tail, and then get the hell away from me. Am I right, Juju?
Yes, Sirski.
Thank you.
That's fair. You know what we get a lot, because we have a dog and a cat? You get the person who visits your house knowing you have a dog and a cat, and they have a cat allergy. So all of a sudden, I got to hide my cat in the closet so that they don't start
sneezing. Not in the closet. I mean, geez, you do a bedroom.